Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. Anyone who's lived in Vermont for a hot second can tell you the sweetest product to come from Vermont's forests. Beyond sugar making and timber, forests are becoming hotbeds for a new kind of agricultural practice, forest farming. UVM Extension Center for Sustainable Agriculture recently hosted a workshop called Forest Farming, a climate-smart practice. This event was held in Rutland County at the Smokey House Center, which has provided ecological, economic, and social impacts for foresters and farmers for over 50 years. Ben Willis has our report.
When most of us think about agriculture, we might picture open fields, livestock, and heavy machinery. But there is another approach to farming, which allows landowners to grow certain crops on forested land. We're visiting the Smokey House Center in Danby, Vermont, to learn about forest farming. For 50 years, the center has been dedicated to promoting ecologically sound and environmentally productive land management. Smokey House's Living Lab features 1,000 acres of farmland cradled within nearly 4,000 acres of forest. We're visiting on a day when the Living Lab at the Smokey House Center is hosting a workshop on forest farming in collaboration with the University of Vermont.
Can you raise your hands?
What we're excited about in having this workshop is that we're bringing together farmers and foresters, and typically forestry and agriculture have been different professions, different sectors, and for that reason people think differently and value differently. And something like trees is something that often farmers want to get rid of and foresters love, and it's a way of appreciating how we can think creatively and bring these two different groups together to talk about what sort of plants can be grown in the forest or at the edge of the field.
I just bought a property in southern Vermont, and I always thought I'd have land to garden and do all that, but it's completely wooded. And I have like an herbal background, so I'm really excited to kind of get on that land and start planting some forest plants out there.
I have a lot of clients who are really interested in agroforestry in general, and a few that are particularly interested in forest farming. And so I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about it so that I can help my clients implement these practices on their lands.
Yeah, that's probably good. Just see if we're not putting it down on it.
Oh, I'm nervous.
For a lot of people who have a 10-acre woodlot or something like that, and they're not doing anything in the understory, this is a way to utilize that underutilized resource of the understory, increase the biodiversity, help these plants, spread across the landscape, and it kind of becomes like an insurance policy where you might not be deriving an income from this every year, but like if we think about Vermont last year, we had these really intense floods. Again, ginseng's not going to save a farmer from that, but maybe if you planted ginseng 10 years ago, that's a year where you decide to harvest some of this and make $5,000 or something, which helps out a little bit, right? Like we know at this point there's no silver bullet solution, but this is one that can help out a little bit.
For Susie Hodgson, this is more than just about farm revenue. She sees this as part of a broader effort to create more healthy forest ecosystems.
Well, in Vermont, we've taken trees for granted. They're really all around us. In fact, 3/4 of our land area is covered with trees. But the problem is we've been losing thousands of acres each year for all sorts of reasons. We have invasives taking over. We have a lot of development pressure, pests and diseases. And for that reason, we really need to look closely at our forests and healthy trees and be creative about a strategy for using trees intentionally in the landscape, which brings us to agroforestry. And agroforestry has a lot of promise for storing carbon and helping us both mitigate climate change and also adapt to climate change. So agroforestry is different because we're deliberately planning and intentionally using trees in the landscape to produce productive systems.
As part of his tour, Kamak brings us to a forest farming research site once known for another form of agroforestry.
So we're in the historic sugar bush at Smokey House. If we were to walk probably half a mile to our east, we would be in the active sugar bush. So we're not tapping this area right now, but these trees right here, there's rumor that these were actually tapped during the Civil War. So these are incredibly old sugar maple trees right over here. This is called golden seal. So this is a native plant. These are all native plants that we focus on that naturally occur in our forests. And they are valued by people for various reasons. So golden seal and bloodroot both have medicinal qualities. And because of that, there are these existing markets for these plants that have created a lot of demand, and that demand is met by generally people going into the woods and harvesting wild populations. So what we're trying to accomplish with forest farming is to actually empower people to grow these crops in their woods. And what that does is, one, it provides an alternative income for, say, a farmer who has a woodlot or a forest landowner, but it also then actually helps to conserve these native plant populations, because you're actually having people source those plant materials from sustainably grown populations instead of wild populations. So forest farming is sort of at once an agroforestry practice, but also a conservation practice. So we seeded ginseng last fall. So this is, a 3-month-old ginseng, not even a 2-month-old ginseng plant. So this is sort of a different aged and 3 species forest farming system. And we're gonna monitor this over the years and see how it develops. And it's part of sort of a farm trial where we've planted these species out in different sites, and we'll take soil samples and see how they grow. And we're doing a lot of other research on these crops here as well.
This year marks 50 years of land management research at the Smokey House Center.
Historically, the mission of Smokey House has been to demonstrate what a healthy working landscape looks like and to connect with people in meaningful ways on that landscape. The present day iteration of that mission is this new Keystone program we launched last year called the Living Lab, which is really meant to use and work across this landscape, set up a living laboratory where we're doing applied research, land-based research, trialing different practices, working with foresters and farmers and other land stewards in a really collaborative way to really try to figure out what the future of land stewardship and land management looks like in this region in the context of climate change.
The promise of agroforestry has led UVM to collaborate with a range of organizations and agencies.
We're working with partners that include the USDA Climate Hub, Northeast Risk Management Association, our partners like Smokey House Center, to actually explore how we can be looking at these agroforestry practices that show so much promise. And what's particularly exciting is that we're bringing a diversity of voices to the table, foresters and farmers and service providers. So we have a diversity of voices, diversity of perspectives. So with different people looking at different places, we can really improve how we are managing our working lands. And I think with diversity, we actually have more resilience.
In Danby, Vermont, I'm Ben Willis with Across the Fence.
Thanks, Ben. From forest farming, we turn to another sound ecological practice, composting. Food scraps have been banned from Vermont landfills since 2020, and if you're like me, you've been composting ever since, if not before. UVM Extension offers a course in becoming a master composter, which is how Keith Silva found himself in Ludlow, Vermont, learning from the hands of a master.
Phil Carter is what you might call a connoisseur of compost.
I just think it's wicked cool that you can take this stuff and have an end product that is just the most beautiful, black, nutrient-rich product. You can't buy this quality. We see what we're making.
Carter is certified as a Vermont Master Composter, a program offered in collaboration between UVM Extension and the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources Department of Environmental Conservation. Carter belongs to the Ludlow Community Garden, located on the property of Fletcher Farms, a nonprofit arts and crafts school and center.
The garden was started in 2020. It's just a beautiful spot. Every plot is taken, and there was actually a waiting list this year, so we're very pleased with that.
After completing the Vermont Master Composter course, Carter wanted to share, or should I say, spread, what he learned about compost to his community, and so he set up a composting demonstration project.
This pile here, you can see mushrooms all over it. I didn't plant them there. So it's all happening, and we let it happen.
What are some of the tips and tricks to composting?
I think one of the biggest things is be careful what you put in food waste. Don't put in meat, don't put in dairy products, don't put in greasy, gooey things. Not good. That'll mess up the recipe big time. And it will also attract predators. If we are in bear country here, knock on wood, we have not had a bear in here. And that's because we're not attracting them. We don't have odors. We don't have meat and dairy products, things that grease, oil, that kind of thing.
So what makes a good compost?
Vegetables, banana peels. We have a list right here. Vegetables, fruit peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, food scraps, salad waste, those types of things. No plastic. Please take the little stickers off the Chiquita bananas. No plastic bags. They will not break down.
Carter advises maintaining a ratio of 3:1. 3 sources of carbon, like leaves or wood chips, to 1 source of nitrogen, like grass clippings or approved food waste.
So you put, your green material in, add 3 times the carbon. But I don't want our gardeners to get all hung up on that. So I try to teach them to, look at it, smell it, grab a handful of it. Is it too wet? Add more carbon. Does it stink? Change your recipe. So those types of things. Again, the purpose of this whole project is to educate people.
What was your drive to become a master composter, and what's the difference to being just a master gardener and a master composter?
First of all, UVM offered the course. When people ask me, I say 1/3 of the material I knew, 1/3 I thought I knew, and 1/3 I didn't know at all. So we're trying to make this simple so people can embrace it, but the UVM course is very involved, and it covers all types of composting, commercial, something simple like this, cold, hot, the whole 9 yards. So it was a great course. If anybody just wants to take it, you don't have to go through and become certified. You can still take the course and get the benefits from it. It's great stuff.
The Vermont Composter course is science-based and does not rely on anecdotal experiences or folk wisdom.
I know some fantastic gardeners, and they truly are fantastic gardeners, but is everything that they're willing to tell you or teach you, is that the right way to do it, or is there a different way? Or if you understand the ecology of the plant or something, will that lead your thought process to be different? I think for me, it was structure. So I think the way they had the different professors give lectures, and walk you through different topics, so you're not all over the place, it gave me direction and said, this is what we're working on. Let's learn about this. So you can be much more objective because it is science-based. And it's true, it works. So that helps us with all this.
The goal of this demonstration project is to educate people by letting compost do what compost does best: mix together to enrich the soil and our communities. In Ludlow, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
If you have gardening or composting questions, we encourage you to visit the UVM Master Gardener helpline, where you can submit questions. The address is on your screen. That takes care of Across the Fence for today. I want to thank everyone who works behind the scenes here at WCAX who make our program possible. I'm Jolie Whitney. Have a good one.